The Circle of Fortune is a faction designed for solo self-found players, or players who don't like trading to have a good time. It provides passive loot bonuses through faction rank, and giant loot explosions through Prophecies. And even as someone who enjoys trade in ARPGs, I have to say, the Prophecy system is really cool, and I'd love to see more games do stuff like this, and I'd also love to see if a Merchants Guild get a similar system. If you're watching this in the future and a Merchants Guild has, then that's completely awesome, because I love Prophecies and I love making loot explosions with them. And so today, I'm going to talk about the Circle of Fortune, go over the faction vendor and lenses, talk about what Prophecies are and a little bit on how they work, and then give some examples of the loot explosions and how I set them up. But these are only a few of the secrets the stars hold, and I'll be talking about more of them in upcoming videos. So do be sure to get subscribed, leave a like while you're down there, and let me know down below what other Circle of Fortune questions that you happen to have. Then keep an eye out, because your question could be answered in a future video. But for now, let's get into things. When you reach the Majelka Upper District in Act 9, you're prompted to join a faction, either the Merchants Guild and their Bazaar, or the Circle of Fortune and their Observatory. Today, I'm definitely going to be talking about the Circle of Fortune, since I started in offline due to the fact that the servers were a little bit problematic. My second character will be online, and I'm probably going to try out the Merchants Guild, but we'll have to see. Maybe there's more with the Circle of Fortune, but I'll need to discover by then. Kind of depends on when the servers stabilize and when I re-roll. And so here we have the Observatory, starting with the faction vendor, who's also the faction leader. On the first tab, you have items. These are really good when leveling. You get things like a bow that has bow crit strike, bow crit multi. It costs 4,200 favor. Shift plus right click. It rolls rarity, and you get a random rare item, which honestly, if I was a low level, this would be pretty awesome. Level 97, so unfortunately it's not very good. This kind of works like the Gambler, except better. However, be really careful using this, because it costs your favor, and your favor is used for endgame activities like Prophecies. So in general, I wouldn't really do this. In fact, this was probably a huge waste of resources. It's a cool concept. I almost think that the Circle of Fortune one should cost gold, because 4,200 favor is a prophecy, and as you'll see later, that's a lot of value. Though as a note, you can't do anything with Prophecies until you're rank 4, so I guess the assumption is, until you get to rank 4, you buy these things. In general, I'd just save my favor. So here we have the faction rewards and rank reputation. There are 10 total ranks. Right now, I'm at rank 7, and I need about 117,000 rep to rank up again. Starting over here, enemy item drop chance. We have a 35% chance to drop twice as many items. And if an item drops from a Circle of Fortune effect, you'll see that little rank requirement there. That means your Merchants Guild friend cannot use it, and it cannot be sold on the Bazaar, though it can be traded to any Circle of Fortune friends, or even Merchant Guild friends, they just won't be able to equip it. Coming back here, there's upgraded Rune of Ascendance, 45% chance for it to be preserved. Then an idle drop chance. Whenever an idle drops, there's a chance to drop more. Coming over here, Exalted Affix chance. This is big, 50% more likely you actually reign Exalted to the point where I've started hiding them on my filters. And a chance to double Echo upgrades. Yeah, sometimes you just want a unique item you're target farming. Now there's a 35% chance to be twice as efficient. At rank 6, Legendary Potential, uniques are twice as likely to have it. I've found that I get LP1 and LP2 way more frequently, to the point where I actually have full tabs between the Prophecies and the LP chance. T7 is more common. I'm definitely getting more of them now. That is really powerful. Rank 8, Rare to Exalted. Rares have a 25% chance of becoming Exalted. If I wasn't hiding them already, I'd be hiding them so much after that. Full set drop is a meme. I do not know why this is here. Set items aren't even good. You don't want sets most of the time. You so rarely use these. And then items from Prophecies are duplicated. Not have a chance to be, are duplicated. What I'm personally probably going to do if I keep playing this character is once I hit rank 8, once my gear is set, I'm going to try to grind all the way to rank 10 unless it's absolutely ridiculous and just see what crazy stuff I can drop with double Prophecies. Because as you saw at the intro of this video, Prophecies are already insane. You can bring this up again by hitting Y or talking to the NPC in the vendor. Also, you get to see your Prophecies here. More on that in a bit. The faction vendor also has lenses. These are divided into two categories, regional and greater. Regional lenses are specific to a certain telescope. So, a focusing lens of runes, for example, can only be used with the Dices telescope, and it gives you a 15% increased chance to find runes. Or a 15% increased chance to find glyphs. And these bonuses are actually pretty good. They're used to target farm things. And it scales up and scales up, meaning that you get more and more effects for that telescope. i.e., focusing lens of bows, 20% increased chance per rank to find bows. It's available starting at rank 2, which is actually before you get the telescopes. Next, we have greater lenses. These have higher level requirements, with the Lens of Wealth requiring rank 8. Each of these have powerful effects, and any of these can be put in any telescopes and swapped at any time. So, the nice thing for something like an obscuring lens of battle is, doing arena is kind of unfortunate. So unless you really like arena, you can just block it entirely with this lens. Remember though, you only get 2 or 3 lens slots in each telescope depending on your rank. So, there is a very significant opportunity cost to using any of these, and also to using these, where you might want something like, all right, a 10% increased chance to find relics. Well, that's pretty good. And you also might want a chance to find unique items. That's pretty good. But if you use both of those, you can't block arena. And you can't necessarily block dungeon events, or monolith events, or high corruption events. So, picking and choosing is very much the key to building out your strategy. Then you can use either the Lens of Rhyme or the Lens of Wealth to get massive bonuses by doubling either the number of uses or the rewards on completion. Now, for my testing so far, those last 2 lenses are very much buyer beware. They can be incredibly powerful, but since they cost a lot more favor, you can burn through your favor for very mediocre rewards. I'd only use them if you really know what you're doing. Here we have the 4 telescopes. Dices, which gives idol-related prophecies. Then in the north, Arctis, which gives armor-related prophecies. In the east, we have Eos, which gives weapons. And in the south, we have Unpronounceable, which gives accessories. You don't actually need to run between them like I just did. You can use the navigation here to swap. So, there's a lot of reduced chance for this, increased chance for that. Does that mean when you get to 100%, something no longer spawns? No, I have reduced chance for prophecies to have campaign events and reduced chance for them to have arena events. Since it's both 100% chance, let's see if any spawn. We've got, nope, that's dungeon, that's monolith. Looking good, right? Well, let's reroll again. We've got dungeon, we've got timeline, we've got dungeon, defeat Architect Liath, Sanctum of the Architect. That is a campaign event, despite the 100% reduced chance. Rolling again, we've got Lightless Arbor, Temporal Sanctum, Lightless Arbor, and rolling again, we've got a whole bunch of dungeons and timelines. So I have noticed that occasionally campaign events do creep in, but it does seem like it has a 100% effectiveness when blocking arena. I don't yet know if this is a bug or if this is intended. Luckily, it is only very, very occasional that you do end up with things like the defeat Architect Liath. So in general, blockers are very good to use to eliminate the content that you don't want to run. Now, another way that you can use this is targeting specific items. So maybe I want a focusing lens of relics to have an increased chance to find relics, and I specifically want unique relics. That's what this combo yields. Unfortunately, the downside of this combo is that it's only focused on positives, so I'll roll arena and campaign and all the bad stuff. Here you go, set relic. I mean, it's exactly what I asked for, just not the right rarity. All right, Hierot, I can buy that one. Rerolls everything. Yes, when you acquire a prophecy, it does reroll everything. We've got some exalted rings, unique relics from God Hunter Argentus, all 6. This is a great way to target farm relics if that's what you're wanting to do. Here we go, unique relics from Shade of Orbis. That's a pretty cool one. I'm definitely going to do that. But unfortunately, we do also have Tier 3 Arena, and it's not even for relics. The other thing you could do is vastly increase the cost to increase the rewards. So maybe I want boots, and I don't want to do too many prophecies, and I don't mind how much I spend. I can do this, re-rolling, and look at how expensive these are now. It's over 9,000. And no, I didn't do that intentionally just to put that joke in. It happened to, well, roll randomly. So let's try that again. And as you'll see, we'll get a bunch of very expensive prophecies, but the advantage is they can be done multiple times. I.e., instead of defeating Rye once, now you defeat Rye twice, getting 8 total unique armors, meaning the cost per is actually a lot lower. Or alternatively, you go here and you do it 6 times. I found that in general, when a prophecy rewards one item, you can complete it more times. When it rewards a bunch of items, you can complete it less times. It also seems like the prophecies type does have a little bit of something to do with that, where certain types are more stingy and more generous. I noticed that, for example, prophecies which reward Weaver's Will items tend to be a little bit more generous in their uses. You can see all of your prophecies right here. So these are the ones that I happen to have picked up, and they're even color-coded by zone. So far, the most effective method that I found for stacking prophecies is a blocker and a reward type. So something like blocking all arena, and then going for bow rewards, or blocking all arena and then going for unique rewards. Yeah, okay, I'm not the biggest fan of arena if you couldn't tell. I've also noticed that monoliths tend to be a pretty inefficient way to do it early on. Now later, as you push more timelines higher, and as you're just regularly doing more of them, I'm sure it's totally fine. But early I found it's best to stack them on dungeons. It's really easy to run through a temporal sanctum and just go blast Julra. If you're going to do this though, just pay a little bit of attention to the tier requirements, because you might have to do a T4 Julra or you might have to do a T2. And there's a little bit of difference in difficulty between them. Now recently, I spent around 100,000 favor trying different combinations, focusing on a lot of blockers, focusing on high cost, focusing on low cost, all that stuff. And I found for most things, especially in the early game and mid game, you actually want to go with a low cost prophecy strategy. Because if you're dropping 6 or 7 of an item at a time, then as it turns out, you probably don't need to double that as well, unless you're fishing for a rare item. I also found that proccing uniques off of Julra in particular means that you get a lot of extra LP items, so that's a pretty cool bonus. Additionally, I've also found that any generic boss kills are quite good, and exiled mages are good prophecies to take, since there's a wide range of places where you can proc these and you don't have to worry too much about the specifics. On the other hand, I've found arena and high corruption monolith events to be the worst, since that requires a lot of extra effort either doing arena or pushing the mono up if it isn't already there. I'm sure as I keep playing characters, everything will just get there naturally, so that's probably not a big deal long term with the refined system used to push corruption. So far, this system feels incredibly powerful. Now, it could be that the Falcon Bomber is just a better build than anything I've played previously. It's certainly very overtuned. In the past, I remember spending a couple days trying to farm LP marinas and getting a lot of them, but none with LP. Now I've set out to get, well, pretty much any item that I've wanted for my build thus far, and I've managed to get it with 1 LP relatively easily by prophecy stacking and then going to bonk Julra. Also, all the extra exalted drops means that I have more T7 items equipped and in my stash than I think I collected in my entire previous playtime. And so overall, it feels like gearing is super ridiculously easy. And that's a little scary, because I'm not ranked 10 in the Circle of Fortune. And I also think the best is yet to come, because I'm not entirely sure how the additional LP chance, prophecy duplication, and LP chance per corruption interact. Does it mean that we're going to be seeing loot explosions of 3 and 4 LP items later on? I don't know. I guess we'll just have to stay tuned and find out, because the game did just recently release out of beta, 1.0 is new, the item factions are also new, and only time will tell. With that said, I'm curious, did you go Circle of Fortune or Merchant's Guild, and have you found it successful, or did you run into issues? Be sure to share your thoughts up in the card and down below. On the other hand, if you need a loot filter or want to know more about Last Epoch, I'll link a couple of resources that you can watch after this to find out all that stuff. Before I go, a special thanks to my patrons and channel members for the continued support. For as low as $1 a month, you can help make videos just like this one possible. Link to support is down below. With that said, a big thanks to everyone who watched to the end. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on the Circle of Fortune so far, and if you want to see some more advanced topics, again, let me know your questions down below, and then stay tuned for future videos. But with that said, I hope you learned something, and I'll see you again in the next one.